From Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with you as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Patriots leading the Seahawks 17-14. New England with the ball, and this has been really almost a perfect football game so far. Just 3 penalties in the game, 2 by New England, 1 by Seattle. A grand total of 25 yards for both teams, and there hasn't been a turnover.
That's the thing that's so unbelievable, is that there hasn't been a fumble, there hasn't been an interception. There hasn't been anything to really change this game other than the blocked punt.
Eason throwing deep. Stanley Morgan wide open. Touchdown. Patriots 23-14 over Seattle on the first play of the fourth quarter. Stanley Morgan has just caught his second touchdown pass of the day. Earlier, 27 yards, this time 44. The Patriots 23, Seattle 14. 8 seconds gone from the fourth quarter. Tony Franklin attempting the point after. New England's lead is 10. Morgan now with 5 catches for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. They're on their feet in Foxborough after Stanley Morgan's second touchdown reception. 24-14 Patriots. Morgan has 2 TDs worth more than 100 yards today. In fact, 118 yards on 5 receptions. And here's the kickoff coming to Bobby Joe Edmonds. He's got running room out to the 35-yard line, in Seattle will put it in play 1st and 10 after Ed Reynolds made the tackle. Let's take another look at Stanley Morgan's performance.
I think the thing that really makes this play work is watch Eason. Now you're going to see him look off to the right. He even does a fake pump. That draws the defender up. It allows, now watch the time he takes to come out here. It allows Stanley Morgan to come all the way across the field with that great speed, and he catches it right in stride. This is a picture-perfect play. It's just thrown right smack in his arms, and Stanley Morgan's got another 100-yard game. I can't remember the last time I saw a receiver have 3 back-to-back 100-yard receiving games.
In fact, he's the first Patriot ever to do so. 5 catches for 118 and 2 touchdowns of 44 and 27 yards. And with 14:44 left to play in this game, Morgan's 29th 100-yard game is a Patriot. 24-14 Patriots. They're leading the Seattle Seahawks. This has turned out to be a very good game. First down for Seattle from the 35. Williams, the one set back, Largent in motion to the near side. The play fake. Craig trying to go deep. He's got Byron Franklin at the 20. Franklin is knocked down at the 15-yard line. Ronnie Lepet on the coverage.
Well, you can't underestimate Byron Franklin's speed. Number 88 is a burner out of Auburn. And look at that excitement on his face. What happens on this play? They leave Steve Largent, number 80, in the block. Andre Tippett. He gets in the way. It gives Dave Craig time, and he unlocks just a beautiful play. Byron Franklin with that speed catches it in stride, and Lepet has to come from behind to make a play. A big play for the Seattle Seahawks. They had to do something to answer that touchdown by Stanley Morgan, and in fact they have.
A 49-yard gain, first down from the New England 16. Straight ahead Warner to the 10. He's still on his feet fighting for yardage down to the 3-yard line. Kurt Warner with a 13-yard gain. Toby Williams made the tackle.
The hardest play to tackle as a defensive lineman is the one that hits you so quickly. And that's what Kurt Warner does. He gets into that hole so quickly. He's running full out when he gets that ball. Now watch that acceleration through the hole. He's through before the defenders can react. They're jumping on his back. There's one person. That's Roland James. He didn't even wrap his hands around him. And they have got the ball inside the 5-yard line.
First and goal from the 3 for Seattle. They're trailing by 10. Fourth quarter here from Foxborough. John L. Williams gets to the 1.
John Williams.
Steve Nelson on the tackle.
Steve Nelson on the tackle.
Jets in Miami tied now.
That's a defensive struggle. 62 points now.
Marino with 4 touchdown passes there. The Rams continue to lead the Colts in the fourth quarter.
And Tom, something interesting just happened. Blair Bush got hurt on that last play, evidently sprained a knee, and they brought in a new center, Connie Kawhi.
Second and goal from the 1. Williams, the lead back in the eye. Kurt Warner hurdles. Is he in? He's in for the touchdown. Seattle trailing now 24-20 with 12:37 to go in this game.
And I only made mention of that center change because on this drive, something can happen with that snap so quickly. But Kurt Warner, with that acceleration, jumped up there, was met in mid-stride, and just struggled his way for that touchdown. All you have to do is break the plane. But you can see right now that the Seahawks have gone back to the running game. Now watch this here. He just has to break the plane. He doesn't have to land in the end zone, and he's met in the hole. Look at that struggle. He still has his legs going. He's still coming down and pushing. And he just pushes Lawrence McGrew in and breaks the plane.
If Seattle can convert here, they'll be within a field goal once again. Warner has 2 touchdown runs, one of 13 and another now of 1 yard. Johnson's point after attempt is good. 12:37 to go. Fourth quarter, it's New England 24, Seattle 21. Well, don't go away. You're on the edge of your seats if you've been following this from the start. It's New England 24, Seattle 21 with 12:37 to go. Fourth quarter, Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with you, and look at the scoring. For Seattle, Warner a 13-yard run, Collins a 6-yard run. Even things at 7 after the first quarter as we look at the kick return here. Coming down to Cedric Jones. Jones takes the ball, can only gain a couple of yards and is tackled at the 15. During that second quarter, Tony Franklin kicked a 26-yard field goal to give New England a 10-7 lead. Later, Stanley Morgan caught a 27-yard touchdown pass on a 3rd and 9 from the quarterback Tony Eason to give the Patriots a 17-7 lead at the half. Ray Butler closed it to within 3 with a 54-yard reception. Patriots went back up by 10 on a Morgan 44-yard catch from Eason, and then Kurt Warner takes it in from a yard out as Seattle trails by 3, coming down to the 12.5-minute mark here in this game. First down for New England at the 17. The pitch to Craig James. James is going to lose about 3.
Players will always tease about old momentum. That's who they call. They say momentum has changed, and momentum has really changed in this game. Seattle did not panic when they got down by 10 points. They in fact answered it with that long pass to Byron Franklin, and now their defense is playing as a unit. This has just been a game that has just seesawed back and forth, and now it looks as if momentum is a little bit on Seattle's side.
From the 14-yard line, second down, 13. Eason with a deep drop. Pass was intended for Hawthorne. He was really covered at the 20-yard line by Bruce Schultz, the linebacker for Seattle. He was all over it.
He was in his pocket. Bruce Schultz almost came up with that play, and look there. We see Steve. That's Dave Craig taking a couple extra snaps from center to make sure he's got. Now that's because Blair Bush, the center, number 59, has a sprained knee. And that was the point I made earlier about Connie Kawhi coming in there and snapping. So he wants to make sure that he's getting that snap up, the ball's getting up, and it feels right. So that's what they were doing on the sideline.
Mosi Tutupu and Greg Hawthorne are in the game now for New England with motion coming from Cedric Jones. Eason looking to throw the ball, has time, floats one out here and completes it to Irving Fryer. Fryer makes the catch at the 32-yard line, good enough for a New England first down, and Eason had enough time to eat a sandwich.
Well, I talked about that earlier, and the fans know that. I'm sure the Seattle fans were up there saying, good night, we got to get rush on him. But what happened that time is Seattle elected to send 3 linemen. They picked him up. We've got a big offensive line for this New England Patriot team. And as you said, watch the time that Eason had. Now, he had to make a circus catch on the snap. But look at this. He's able to look to his left, look to his right. Indecision. Now, last second, he floats it out. You just cannot give a quarterback that much time.
Play fake to Craig James. Pressure coming from Jacob Green. Eason is in the grasp.
Now, a lot of fans would like to know why he wasn't able to throw him down. And that's about the first sack, I think, today.
It is.
And it's by Jacob Green. But a lot of people say, well, how come they blew the whistle? But that's what they call in the grasp, to protect the quarterback so he doesn't slam him down. Now, what he was going to do is going to do a bootleg. And Jacob Green didn't fall for it. He just grabs him by the corner. Now, this is where a lot of quarterbacks could be injured. They have a rule that they try not to hurt a quarterback. And you can see, watch Jacob Green just ease up when he hears that whistle. He's within the grasp.
Here's an interesting statistic. The Patriots have lost yardage on their last 4 rushing attempts.
That's old momentum changing.
Here comes Eason passing again. The ball was tipped away by number 22, Dave Brown of Seattle.
Dave Brown tipped away. Dave Brown knows he should have had that catch. That would have tied him with Donnie Shell. Look at his expression. This ball is right in his hands. Dave, you're not supposed to miss them. I'm going to say one thing. Dave Brown is probably one of the all-time best gentlemen that I've ever met in this game. That is a class individual. Very committed man. Look at there. 47 career interceptions, second only to Donnie Shell.
Tony Eason so far for the day now 17 of 30 for 266 yards and a couple of touchdowns out of the shotgun formation from the 25, 3rd and 18, and there was movement by Jacob Green and a couple of penalty markers flying. In fact, 3 are down on the field.
Well, they're going to tell Jacob, look, Bob Frederick's there saying, Jacob, get back over there. You were offsides.
Miami back on top of the Jets.
That's a defensive struggle we've talked about.
How about the Falcons? They've won their last 4 and they're trailing by a point against Dallas. The last 4 over 2 years now. Marino has 5 touchdown passes for Miami today.
They leave that game on long enough, he's liable to break a record. Well, Buffalo looks like they may get their first win.
Steelers continue to have their problems in the early going. They haven't lost 3 in a row since 1970 to start a season. From the 30, 3rd and 13. Beatty into Tupu in the backfield there. Eason out of the shotgun. His pass is complete. Stanley Morgan made the catch at a 42-yard line. It's a pickup of 14. Looks like it could be near a first down. Very close if they give him forward progress.
And what a shot Stanley Morgan takes. He comes up off the ground, catches that, and in fact it is a first down. But Stanley Morgan is a rejuvenated Stanley Morgan. Doesn't even there, he puts his hat back on. But that's when it takes courage for a wide receiver, when you have to come off your feet. You're in the middle, you know you're going to get hit. And Stanley Morgan jumps there, he knows he's going to get hit. Bam, bam, from the front, from the back. Stretch is trying to get that first down. There's 2 more coming in trying to knock him off, knock his helmet off. He is a rejuvenated Stanley Morgan.
From the New England 43, first down Patriots. They lead 24-21, 9:38 to go in this game. Motion from Irving Fryer. And Eason sets at his 35-yard line. The pass is complete to Fryer at midfield, and Fryer goes into Seattle territory to the 48-yard line, where Greg Gaines was able to make the hit after a 9-yard gain.
Now this will bring up an interesting point, because there's going to be 2nd down and 1. This is usually a waste down. And some of your great quarterbacks, the ones with the real strong arms that can challenge defenses, a lot of times in this situation will try to run a gimmick, a gadget, something to keep the defense off and then throw that bomb. Let's watch, in fact, let's take a peek in there on Tony Eason and see what's going through his mind.
9 minutes to go. New England with a 3-point lead after the play fake here by Eason. He throws to Tony Collins, midfield. Collins knocked down in the water on the far side of the field by number 20, Terry Taylor.
In fact, he did have Stanley Morgan about 50 yards downfield. Had he not been rushed, that was the type of play that I was bringing up, that he was going to fake it to one, fake it to the other, bootleg it, put it on his hip, and maybe, in fact, throw that long pass to Stanley Morgan. But Seattle got some rush on him.
And got a first down, too, from the 45-yard line of Seattle. It's 1st and 10. It's really important now for the Patriots to hold on to the ball and take as much time as they possibly can as they go downfield here against Seattle if they're going to continue to lead this game by at least 3 points. Eason passing. Little shovel pass to Tony Collins, 40, and he's down to the 37-yard line. Tony Collins, nice catch there. Craig Young comes up to make the hit. It's a gain of 8.
And I talked about the conservatism of the New England Patriots. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They're not challenging the defense. They're just little short dump passes. Nothing to lose a lot of yardage and have to give up that ball. And if you're a Seattle fan, you're saying, get a sack, get an interception, get a fumble. If you're a Patriots fan, you're yelling, keep that clock rolling.
And they're using the clock real well. In fact, about 1 minute and 30 gone off the last time we gave the clock time. We're down to about 7.5. This is Craig James to the 30. The Patriots are in a position to put this one out of reach if they can score and continue to knock time off the clock. Kenny Easley along with Greg Gaines making the stop.
An interesting note, Tom, is that they started this drive back on about the 15-yard line with that punt. So they have, in fact, driven that ball. It was actually the 17-yard line, but they have, in fact, driven this ball from the 17 all the way to the 30 of Seattle. And as you mentioned, used time, and now we're down just about under 7 minutes left.
New England 24, Seattle 21. First down at the Seattle 30-yard line, and Eason to pass again. Lobbing it for the end zone. Stanley Morgan's caught his third touchdown of the game. 30-21, New England. 30-yard touchdown.
Stanley Morgan, what a year he has had. We talked about him being rejuvenated, talked about him coming back from that operation. He's got his third touchdown of the day. This was just a little short one, only 30 yards.
He's already had him from 44 and 27.
And of course, that play is called from the sideline by Steve Grogan. He may have seen something on the sideline. He coordinates with Les Steckel, the offensive coach, up in the press box, and they read that defense. And if Eason has that time with the speed of Stanley Morgan, he picked them up for a touchdown.
Franklin's point after is good. New England again has a 10-point lead. The Patriots 31, Seattle 21. 6:51 left to play in this one in Foxborough. There's a lot of happy fans here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where New England leads Seattle 31-21, 6:51 to go in this game. And once again, Tony Eason connecting with Stanley Morgan.
30-yard touchdown pass right in stride. You can't have a better day. And look at that so far for 1986. He's going to far surpass what everybody is saying. He's had 22 receptions for 381 yards. Wouch.
Edmonds, 47-yard line. Giving up too much field position there. The Patriots, they may have been a little too happy. Venice Glenn on the tackle.
Well, there's nothing that will spur you faster than a great return by Bobby Joe Edmonds. And if he had broken to the outside, he may have even gone farther. Let's take another look at that touchdown. Now watch this. They're bringing the linemen, the linebackers, everybody's picked up. That means it's one-on-one coverage. And with the likes of a Stanley Morgan with that speed, there's very few people can stay with him.
The drive, 83 yards, 11 plays. It took 5:46 off the clock. Now with 6:39 to go in this game. Seattle trails by 10. Craig going deep. Lepet gets his hand on it, couldn't bring it down. The pass was intended for Byron Franklin.
And if Byron Franklin had looked back and been under control, he may have been able to come down with that, but it would have been negated because there is a flag on the play. But Ronnie Lepet just realized, hey, they're going to come back to Byron Franklin again, so I better get on my horse and get back there. But I believe we're going to have a holding call against Seattle.
Offensive holding, number 70. Touchdown will be received.
Now watch the tail end of this. Lepet tips the ball up. Now watch, if Franklin's under control and can come back. Now watch right here where it comes back over his head. He tips it again. There's strange things with this ball when it's got points on both ends and bounces.
Stanley Morgan has caught 3 touchdown passes. Kurt Warner has scored on 2 runs. Patriots 31, Seattle 21. Out of the I formation on a 1st and 20 from the 37 for Seattle. Craig has to find running room. Slides at the 46-yard line.
Now that could have been a penalty there, because when a quarterback slides with his feet underneath him, you are not supposed to touch him. And he slid feet first. That's like a give up. And in fact, the Patriots landed on him. Now watch at the tail end of this. When you slide feet first, you're not allowed to touch him. And they, in fact, do hit him. That could have been a penalty, but they did not call it. That was Lawrence McGrew.
But could McGrew have stopped?
Well, that was in the question of the officials, whether he could stop or not. But when he slides feet first, you're not supposed to touch him.
2nd and 11. Craig wanting to pass to the near sideline, makes the reception to Byron Franklin. Ronnie Lepet on the coverage. He gave a little ground as Franklin was able to make the turnaround. A 16-yard gain and a 1st down for Seattle. They're now into New England territory. There's so much scoring in that Miami Jets game, they have yet to get to the 4th quarter. Reno with 5 touchdowns. Buffalo looking for its first win this season. And the Rams playing Indianapolis, actually the Colts, for the first time since '75. From the 38-yard line of New England, Seattle has the football. They're trailing by 10, 31-21. This is Kurt Warner. Finds running room to the 30, to the 29-yard line. It's a gain of 9. Ronnie Lepet made the stop.
Just wonderful balance by Kurt Warner. He always has his feet close to the ground. Anytime he's running, he's not one of those high lifters like a Roger Craig from San Francisco who has that high knee action. Watch how quickly Warner's feet are right to the ground. Quick feet. So important with any position in professional football. Quick feet. That balance, being able to run when you have the ball.
5:16 to go. This is John L. Williams, 20, 15, and he's down to the 12-yard line. Fred Marion, the free safety, along with Lepet, coming up to make the tackle.
And Lepet was trying to rip the ball out again on John L. Williams, but the rookie from Seattle just put that ball away. He was not going to give it up. It's interesting to note that both these teams, now watch at the tail end here, you'll see Lepet trying to pull that ball out. See the hands in there? Trying to rip that ball out? But Chuck Knox teams and Raymond Berry teams are not going to make mistakes to hurt themselves. They're not careless teams.
Seattle with a first down from the 12-yard line. This is Warner. Warner tackled at about the 8. Don Blackman along with Garen Veras coming up to make the stop. The clock is down to 4:30 and moving. Seattle should not be wasting too much time now because they still need another possession to at least tie this game or take the lead.
Well, they have got to be careful in this situation. They cannot not get 3 or 7 points in this situation. They have to score on this drive.
Out of the I formation. 2nd and 8. This is Warner trying to reverse his field, has no blocking, and he gets back to the 10-yard line. Garen Veras smelled out the play and was able to nail Kurt Warner. It's a 2-yard loss, bringing up a 3rd and 8.
Now that's a play that you seldom see for a defensive lineman, but Garen Veras, number 60, is the outside containment. He has the job of not letting anything get around him. Now the play went away from him. He still has to trail. See how he's trailing way out there on the top of your picture? He cannot allow anything to come around and get behind him. There you see him plant. He goes back. He said, whoa, boy, I can't. Those coaches are going to look at that. I've got to turn that play inside. In fact, he did.
Clock is moving unmercifully. 3:23 to go out of the shotgun. Throwing for the end zone. Overthrown for Butler, but there's a penalty marker in the end zone.
Well, that's going to be holding. No, it's going to be motion against Seattle, and it's going to be defensive interference. I think it was Brian Millard that started off just a little bit early. It looked as if he jumped back about a half a count ahead, and then it looked as if it was interference in the end zone. So it should be offsetting plays. Well, we'll have to hear from Bob Frederick. He's over there in a little conference, and they always tell the players, now get away from us now, let me make the call. Okay, Bob, what is it?
False start, number 75 on the offense, and the play was killed before it was started.
Ouch, that one hurts. Now, what happened on that play? They ruled a false start by Brian Millard. That was the first call. That made the... Now, what happened on that play? They ruled a false start by Brian Millard. That was the first call. That made the play, in fact, dead, so they did not, in fact, count the interference in the end zone. That's a tough play against Seattle because it moves them 5 yards. Now it's going to make it 3rd down and about 13 yards, and obviously Chuck Knox is not happy, as is Raymond Berry. Raymond Berry was excited on that play, I'm sure.
Ball's marked at the 16 now.
And a lot of times in this situation, Dave Craig will go to Steve Largent. Very sure-handed wide receiver.
Craig has passed for 139, Eason for 330.
Now we have a little discussion again. Well, if the ball was dead, shouldn't we put it over here? I love that when they all get together there. You see all the steam. I never liked those guys in the striped shirts like that a whole lot, but...
They're just verifying that it is 3rd down.
Yes.
Seattle can get a first down if they get the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line. So they don't have to get a touchdown before they get a first down here.
But they have to get at least 3.
Out of the shotgun. 3rd and 14 from the 16-yard line. Craig passing for the end zone. Intended for 81, Darrell Turner, overthrown. Raymond Claiborne on the coverage. That'll bring up a 4th and 14 from the 16-yard line.
And I don't know why they didn't go to Steve Largent on that play. I know that Turner was double covered, and he threw into double coverage, but as Steve Largent came across the field, he, for a moment, appeared wide open.
Of course, you have the advantage from seeing it up here about 500 feet away from where They are.
Well, hindsight is always 20/20. But this is really a vital field goal because it'll put them within a touchdown. If their defense can hold, this is a big one for Norm Johnson.
33-yard field goal attempt. Good. Seattle now trailing by a touchdown with 2:53 to go. It's 31-24 in favor of New England, and this game has really turned out to be a much more high-scoring game than I think either of us anticipated coming in when you consider that New England had given up 9 points in 2 games, and Seattle had given up just 17. They had shut out Pittsburgh and then gave 17 to Kansas City, and this has turned out to be a real interesting game to watch from an offensive standpoint.
It certainly has, but you have two offenses that really can control the ball. I really believe that this is a preview of a game that we will probably see in December. I think these two teams are playoff bound, destined, and perhaps will meet themselves in December again for the, I guess you call it the rubber match of this series, but they really have got, both of them have got the abilities to go through their conferences and win. Now the question, of course, is do you onside? And I'm sure that Chuck Knox is down there saying, well, what do you think? You think we can onside? And you'll see a prevent defense for the Patriots. There's still 2 minutes and 53 seconds. They each have 3 timeouts. That's plenty of time to kick deep and try to hold them. If you are able to hold them without a first down, they will get the ball back within, say, the 40 to 50-yard line. So myself, I would not kick in this situation. I wouldn't do an onside kick because I think that if you don't recover it, the game is just about over. You've got great field position if in fact you don't get it. Now Raymond Berry is over there and he's saying, okay, now look, what plays are we going to use? We've got to control the clock. Let's find out what Norm Johnson thinks and the Seattle Seahawks.
Line drive. Irving Fryer lets it get past him, so it'll be a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 from the New England 20. This game has really not seesawed back and forth, but when you look at the review of the scoring, after Seattle grabbed a 7-0 lead after blocking a Camarillo punt attempt and Warner running 13 yards for a touchdown on the very next play, New England managed to come back and tie it at 7 on a Collins 6-yard run. Franklin kicked a 26-yard field goal to give New England the lead at that point, 10-7. Stanley Morgan caught a 27-yard touchdown pass, 17-7 at the half, favor of the Patriots, and then it's been back and forth. Butler with a 54-yard TD, Morgan with a 44, Warner with a 1-yard run, Morgan again for 33, and now the field goal by Johnson to get him to within a touchdown. The pass was intended for Craig James, incomplete.
And a good play by Jeff Bryant, 77 that time, to tip that little outlet pass. He's going to the outside. He puts up that hand. He's got a big hand because he's 6'6", about 275 pounds. And you'll see him in the bottom of your screen. Now watch him as he comes out here. He sees the ball, puts that big hand out there and just swipes that ball away. Big play for a defensive lineman.
Patriots' last drive took 5:46. It ended with a touchdown pass to Stanley Morgan. If they can take the clock down as much as they did last time, they will assure themselves of a victory.
But it's a different time. We're going to have at least a 2-minute stop. It's 2nd down and 10. The defensive line are really going to be coming now.
Collins and James in the backfield. James takes the handoff. He evades Jacob Green for a second, but then Green recovered, and Butler comes up with a timeout sign at about the 20-yard line, so they want to take the timeout before the 2-minute warning.
Absolutely. They don't want to allow this clock. There's 2 minutes and 33 seconds left. If they don't take the timeout, the clock will run down to the 2-minute warning, but they take the timeout. It allows them to get 2 plays off before the before the 2-minute warning. And there's the brain trust of the Seattle Seahawks. That's Chuck Knox. He has taken his teams, although they have been varied in many, he has taken almost every team that he's played for coached to the playoffs. He has had a wonderful record over the years. And of course, everybody knows the story of his counterpart across the field, Raymond Berry, who has, in fact, taken this New England team that everybody thought should have been in the playoff year after year. There he is in the center of your screen. You can see with the red hat standing behind Easton, number 11. That's Raymond Berry, of course, the great wide receiver. And I think he's made a dream come true in this place in New England, because he has taken them to the playoffs, and they, in fact, were 1 game away from the Super Bowl.
Very dedicated man as a player. Took many hours beyond practice with the Colts to work with John Unitas, and the two hooked up for 631 completions.
And he has some interesting things that he does here. His wide receivers, when they stretch, they carry a ball with them because he wants them to get used to carrying the football. They work their hands with silly putty to strengthen the wide receiver's fingers. He came up with probably one of the innovations in a passing drill, where the receiver stands with his back to the quarterback, They throw the ball, someone yells, turn, the receiver turns around quickly and has to adjust his hand. As you said, a very dedicated player.
On a 3rd and 10 from the 20, out of the shotgun, Eason sets it to 10. The rush is on, and down goes Eason for a 10-yard loss, bringing up a 4th and 20. Excellent sack there by Jeff Bryant.
Jeff Bryant is making his mark late in this game. He has played well. He tipped that ball away just a minute ago. This time he comes all the way around. He's playing over Brian Holloway, who is a Pro Bowl performer for this team, the Patriots team. That time he never quit on the play. Dedication, ran all the way around the backside and in fact sacked Eason for that loss. And now Seattle is going to get the ball with about 2 minutes left. We'll probably have the 2-minute warning because it's under about 217. No, wait a minute, they're going to call timeout. A smart move by the Seahawks. Call timeout now. They'll stop the ball now. They'll get the ball back with probably 2 minutes and 15 seconds, be able to run a play. Plus at the 2-minute warning, they'll get another timeout. Good strategy by the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff.
Seahawks scored first, and they have not had the lead since the first quarter when New England managed to tie it and then take a 10-7 advantage on a Tony Franklin field goal. There has never been more than a 10-point advantage here for the Patriots all afternoon. They lead it now by 7, 31-24 with 2:17 to go.
Now if you're a Seahawk fan, do you want them to rush the punter? They've already blocked one punt and scored their first touchdown off it. Camarillo knows they're going to be coming after him. Do you rush the punter or do you get the big return? Myself, what I would do, I'd plan on the return because you've got a return man back there in Bobby Joe Edmonds that is an exceptional return man. He's already proved that with a big return today. They're going to get excellent field position, and they just need a touchdown to tie it.
What about Camarillo's thoughts as he lines up to punt this, knowing that he's already been blocked for the first time ever?
Well, he's going to be standing right at the back of the end zone because the ball is on the 10-yard line, and he lines up about 15 yards deep. So he's going to be about halfway back. He is worried about the snap. He's worried about his 2 steps. He's got a lot of things on his mind. He is, though, one of the best punters in the league. And it looks like the Seahawks are really going to come after him. They've got 10 men up on the line of scrimmage.
They blocked it. Seattle trying to fall on it for a touchdown. They did. Paul Moyer falls on the football and got it. They're within a point after attempt of tying it.
Listen to the crowd. They're stunned. They can't believe it. Everybody in this stadium realized that they were going to come after him. They lined up 10 men on the line of scrimmage. They weren't trying to fake anybody out. They just said, hey, we're coming after it. And all the thoughts that went through Camarillo's mind came true because they, in fact, blocked that. And Raymond Berry has just got to be besides himself.
Years ago, they had a situation like this where you would back up and take the safety and then have the free kick. Hindsight, should they have tried it?
Well, that's a good point. They could have done that. In fact, punted the ball out. But then the touchdown wins the game. There's the tie game.
We're tied with 2:12 to go, and New England will get the football back to try to break the tie as Paul Moyer, number 21, a safety, falls on the blocked punt, the second time that Camarillo has been blocked, and the second time that it has directly led to a touchdown.
Now look on the left of your screen. Look how quickly they're in there, and there comes a man right up the gut. That was Paul Moyer, I think, that broke it. Now watch this. Now there's 1 step, 2 steps, and look at that, as the 3 steps, and as that ball, look at him stretch out. What a play. Just tremendous play by the Seattle Seahawks.
Patrick Hunter blocked it, it appears,
That was
Dave.
Patrick Hunter, yes, 23, I think it was.
And then Moyer came up with the loose football in the end zone.
Look at him just pouring up the gut, block that ball, and then they have the foresight to not let it get out of the end zone.
Yeah, that's the big key right there, being able to come up with it.
It certainly is. But now you still have 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. There is a disgruntled punter right there. That's Rich Camarillo. He's sitting there just shaking his head saying, I've never had a day like today.
We could have overtime here in Foxborough, tied at 31, 2:12 left to play. The Patriots have never won an overtime game. They've been in 8.
Well, the secret right now is for New England not to panic. If you're a Patriots fan out there, you're saying don't panic. You've got a strong leg in Tony Franklin. He has got the ability. He has kicked 2 field goals over in the 50s. I think, in fact, he has 1 field goal that may be close to 60 yards, so they have a chance still.
Johnson kicking. Irving Fryer waiting it around the 5. Fryer to the 16-yard line. First down for New England with 2:03 to play in this game, tied at 31. Paul Moyer, the man who recovered the football for the touchdown for Seattle, also made the tackle of Irving Fryer.
And in fact, it has been that. Seattle has battled back. They've been down as many as 10 points. They've never quit. They've had excitement. They've had opportunities to quit, but their defense held them in there until their offense was able to come through. And don't you know, special teams, coaches will always tell you, that can make the quickest change in a game, special teams. And in fact, it has in this game, because they are back in this game 31-31 with 2 minutes and 3 seconds left.
New England will take a timeout now with 2:03 left. That means they only have 2 left. And it seems like there's been some obvious confusion here as Eason walks to the sideline, because Craig James was walking toward the bench and then coming back, and there seemed like they were all befuddled.
Well, one of the things that happened on that play is he got into the wrong formation. You can see him over on the sideline. He's checking it out. They just don't want to make a mistake. The one thing that will kill him right now is a mistake at this point of the game.
Dave, just a reminder to be sure to join us 1 week from today for exciting NFL doubleheader action. Your day gets underway with NFL 86 at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join host Bob Costas along with teammates Ahmad Rashad, Paul McGuire, and Frank DeFord for all the latest news and scores from around the NFL. Then in the first half, the Seattle Seahawks come to the nation's capital to take on the Redskins. And the second half features the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, led by quarterback John Elway against the defending AFC champs, the New England Patriots. Be sure to check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Remember, your team plays here on NBC Sports. What a game.
I got to tell you, it's been exciting. I talked to Raymond Berry before the game. I said, Raymond, boy, this is going to be an exciting game for our fans to watch. He said, yeah, and I don't like them.
You know, whether you're a Patriot rooter or a Seattle rooter, if you just turn on the TV set, you got to be interested.
Oh, this is a wonderful football game, regardless of what team you play for. This is exciting.
First down with Eason throwing from his heels, completing the pass to Irving Fryer at the 35. First down, New England. Kenny Easley on the coverage. Easley with a great coverage there as Tony Eason was going down. We'll be back with more with 1:54 to go and tied at 31. It's NFL football at its best. Seattle and New England tied at 31. 1:54 to go in regulation. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with you. Stanley Morgan has caught 3 touchdown passes for the Patriots. Kurt Warner scored twice on runs of 13 and 1 yard. 1:54 to go. From the 35, the Patriots have a first down. They still have 2 timeouts. Tony Franklin has missed a field goal earlier today that hit the upright. Had that been good, you know, the Patriots would have a 3-point lead right now.
Oh, and look at that, beyond the 50 yards. He's got a career long of 59 yards. That means that they have to make it to about Seattle's 42-yard line for that kick. But they don't want to make it too quick, because if they get there too quick and they try it, then in fact Seattle may have time to come back and use the leg of Norm Johnson.
Eason from the shotgun has double receivers to the far side. Sets at the 25. Down the middle. Incomplete, intended for Stanley Morgan. It was almost picked off.
Kenny Easley was going to catch that ball in stride. Had it been about 6 inches lower, Kenny Easley and Eugene Robinson was deep, but Kenny Easley cuts in front of Stanley Morgan. You might see the flash. There it is. That's Kenny Easley jumping up, and that ball was just overthrown.
And as the ball went past Morgan, Robinson made a dive and almost got it.
Yeah, but Easley was the one that was going to catch it in stride and run it in for a score, and everybody would have been packing up their lunch and going home. But the Pats are still alive.
From the 35, 2nd and 10, Eason again out of the shotgun. Rush from Green, the pass was dumped off to Craig James, and there's a penalty marker down. They may call it intentionally grounded.
Well, what he did that time is he threw the ball and it hit one of his offensive linemen in the back. That is considered an ineligible receiver. It's a loss of down, too. Let's see what Bob Frederick ciphers out of. That would have been my call, an ineligible receiver. I think it hit Steve Moore, 67.
Ineligible, touching the ball behind the line of scrimmage, a loss of a down.
Hey, he confirmed exactly what I said.
You can get a part-time job down there.
I want to be right up here. Now, most teams, you have to realize, now let's watch this for a second. Now watch this here. He's under a lot of rush. You'll see the pressure coming from the right. That's Jacob Green. Now watch, he throws the ball. Now Steve Moore just gets hit in the posterior. and he gets a penalty flag. That's one way for an offensive lineman to get a penalty flag against him.
Third down from the 35. Easton again from the shotgun. Has time. Almost picked off by Seattle's Dave Brown. Pass was intended for Greg Beatty, the tight end, coming to the near side of the field.
And Greg Beatty probably makes the biggest play of his career because he's a rookie. What he did that time, Dave Brown, that man is a wily veteran. He knows what's going on out there. He's the senior citizen, and he played that ball to intercept that ball. Greg Beatty ripped his hand down and knocked the ball free, or else we would have been striking up the band.
1:41 to go in regulation, tied at 31. Raymond Berry perplexed now as New England has to give up the football.
And I'm surprised that Raymond Berry so quickly going away from the run and going to the pass. He only needed about 20 yards and had almost 2 minutes to get it.
Camarillo again punting, got it away. This is Edmonds at the 23. He's been a good return man all day today. And returns it out to the 37-yard line. Mosi Tatupu on the hit. And I'll tell you one thing, this Bobby Joe Edmonds has really helped out Seattle. We've really not noticed him as much as we should have had earlier, I think, because he's returned a couple of punts very well and given them some excellent field position. Right now, Seattle has it at the 37 with a first down.
I want to make a point about Raymond Berry. That really surprised me because coaches don't usually go away from what they do well. And Raymond Berry has had the running game. He had 2 minutes to go. I don't know why he just didn't run it, try to get the clock down, get it within Franklin's field goal range, and kick it. It almost looked as if they did what Seattle did, got away from the running game, and it cost them.
Turner enlarged it wide to the far side of the field. Craig out of the shotgun from a first down from the 37-yard line for Seattle. The game tied at 31, and Craig barking signals. The fans trying to hoop it up here a little bit. Craig looking to shovel it off, but did not. 35, he's looking for some help, and he can't get it, and he goes out of bounds right about at the line of scrimmage. Some good pressure by 43 Ernest Gibson that forced the play there. So 1:24 to go with a time stop because of him going out of bounds.
Now, what was going to happen on this? This is a shuffle pass forward. Now, see, he's going to shuffle it forward, but 60, Garen Varus was right in his face, so he had to bring it down. That's a lonely feeling for a quarterback. He just wants to get out of bounds. But he was going, in fact, just shuffle that ball forward to Kurt Warner for that little pass. Now there's the man of the hour, Norm Johnson.
1:24 to go, 31 tie. Out of the shotgun, 2nd and 9 from the 38. Penalty markers coming from every official on the field, and it's going to go against Seattle, appears.
Well, everybody knew that ball was going to be snapped on one, except our center, Kanigawai, and he snapped it on 2.
Of course, his inexperience and the loss of Blair Bush earlier has hurt Seattle just a little bit. 1:22 to go.
Now watch 71 there. You'll see him right there. That's Brian Millard. He just starts off just about a snap early. Now he gets credit for that penalty.
2nd and 14 from the 33. Craig sets. Going deep for Raymond Butler. Butler's got it in stride. Seattle is going to score with 1:14 left. 67-yard touchdown. He beat Ronnie Lepet. And Seattle has come back with 1:14 left to take a 37-31 lead over New England.
Unbelievable. Everybody was looking at Norm Johnson. Everybody thought they were going to play for a field goal. And Ray Butler comes from nowhere to burn Ronnie Lepet for, as you said, a 67-yard touchdown. And he's not going to give that ball up either today. He said, I'm taking that one home. But there's still a lot of time left. We still have almost a minute and 14 seconds left, and now we have little fisticuffs out there.
It's getting kind of heavy.
Yes, it is. That looks like 74 is in the middle of that. That's Kurt Singer.
One of the officials is right in the middle, too.
Yeah, they're just kind of, wait a minute, there's Kurt Singer now. He's saying, wait a minute, let me in there.
Earlier, Butler caught a 54-yard touchdown during the 3rd quarter. So Butler with 2 touchdown receptions of 54 and 67 yards. Stanley Morgan has 3 TD catches for New England, but the Patriots are trailing for the first time since back in the 1st quarter. They're down 37-31 with 1:14 to go, and there are the stats on Butler. Very impressive.
That's not a bad average. That's about 40-some yards a catch. I think you might take that.
The Colts cut him. Mike McCormick, who coached him in Baltimore when he was the head coach of the Colts, had the sense to pick him up, and I got to give Mike McCormick a lot of credit. Here's a man that brought some players into Seattle that he had known before in Cincinnati and also in Baltimore, players that he was comfortable with, like a Blair Bush and also a Ray Butler. In the past, he's brought guys in like Pratt and Dixon and Carr that he coached in Baltimore. And Mike McCormick has really found his success in the front office. He had his problems as a coach and had a very bad scene in Baltimore many years ago, but I'm very happy that Mike McCormick has found not only the success, but the happiness that he's found in Seattle.
Well, he certainly has found it. You can see Chuck Knox there. Now, what he's telling everybody is don't let up. Listen, we still have 1 minute and 14 seconds left. He's telling Kenny Easley, number 45, who is the defensive coordinator in that backfield. He calls the deep calls, and they have speed too. You have to realize that this New England team still has Stanley Morgan with that great speed, and they can get deep on you in a hurry.
Can the Patriots block it? No. It's good. 38-31 in favor of Seattle. 1:14 left. New England needs a touchdown to tie it. A very happy Ray Butler, who just taught the go-ahead touchdown for Seattle. And the Seahawks have really played well coming back here. They were down 31-21.
Well, it's just a fly pattern, and Butler just out races. Now, it's pretty inexcusable for a defensive back to get beat deep like that, but everybody was thinking that Norm Johnson was going to be the man of the hour. But I go back to a situation that I talked about. What happened with Raymond Berry? I just don't understand why he got away. With 2 minutes left on the clock, he got away from his running game, and you can see the results right there. That's the results. Ray Butler caught it in stride for 67 yards and completely hushed this crowd. I thought that when it was 31-all, that he should not have gotten away from that. He should have just continued that running game. It had been successful. You used down the clock. We talked about the fact that Franklin, with his great leg, had kicked a 59-yard field goal, and they only had to get to the 42-yard line, but they have sometimes wiser minds than me.
Seattle will kick off from midfield now. The Patriots have been penalized 15 yards for the arguments and the contact that was made after the touchdown.
And 2 players were thrown out of the game. Connie Kawhi, the center. Now, that may present a problem. Well, not really with 114, but that's their only healthy center. But Andre Tippett for the New England Patriots has also been thrown out of the game.
Johnson will be kicking to Irving Fryer.
But we still have 1 minute 14, and you still have a Stanley Morgan, and you still have Tony Eason with his great day, and you got an Irving Fryer. You have enough time.
Well, it'll be first down New England at the 20-yard line. When you talk about comebacks, Seattle has scored 17 in the last minute and 39 seconds. Updating the NBC 10-minute ticker.
Is that 76 points in that defensive list struggle? Oh, wow.
Jets in Miami finally got into the fourth quarter. How about Atlanta? Buffalo looking for their first win and got it 17-10 after losing their first 2 by 7 points. And the Rams soundly beat the Colts after they scored first. Couple of more finals. Out of the shotgun, first down from the 20. Eason has time, but cannot get out of the way of Jeff Bryant, 77, and he racks up Eason. That's the second straight time that Eason's had the ball that he's been sacked.
I want to tell you, Jeff Bryant, number 77, something got into him. I think a bee got in his bonnet because he has really come on. He's playing against an all-pro, Brian Holloway, number 76, and right now he's eating his lunch.
Pass is completed to Hawthorne, number 27, out around the 22-yard line. Tempers are flaring here. Penalty marker.
And that's a holding call against New England.
Yeah, Jacob Green seems very happy. He just leaped into the air because they got the call.
Well, I think he's been expecting one all day. He's excited. He's an emotional player, and he's one of the leaders out front here. Now, there's the 4 o'clock games, and they've already started.
Kansas City. We'll be doing Kansas City and Buffalo next week, Dave, up in Orchard Park.
Now
Less than a minute to go.
Now, Tom, this is a really important thing for both the Patriots and Seattle. Seattle they cannot ease up because you have the speed to break something. I know they're back inside the 5-yard line, but people like Stanley Morgan can take it all the way, so their defensive secondary has got to play solid football.
Eason has his pass almost intercepted. Number 20, Terry Taylor, almost had the first interception of the season for a player against Tony Eason. The pass was intended for Cedric Jones, but Taylor had his hands on it and just let it pop out.
Well, more importantly, that young man, Terry Taylor, just played that ball as well as you can. Look at his position. That's what coaches look for in defensive backs. They look for position. Sure, he didn't catch the ball, but he was in perfect position for that play.
3rd and 25 from the 5-yard line. New England trailing by 7, 53 seconds left to play. Seattle with 17 points over a minute and 39 span of this 4th quarter to take the lead. Eason stepping up in the end zone. He's in trouble. Down the middle. Caught by Cedric Jones for a first down at the 33-yard line. Stanley Morgan lost his helmet on the play. There's a timeout. Morgan was away from the play and lost his helmet.
Well, Morgan was coming along behind Cedric Jones. He thought the ball was coming to him. I think he got hit by a defensive player. He really took a shot. New England has called a timeout. Stanley Morgan is flat down on his back. Now, you may see in the tail end of this play, there's Stanley Morgan. Now, watch all the way across the field. Let's see how long. Now, watch right here. There's the pass. Now, see, they thought it was to Stanley Morgan. Bam, bam. Off comes his helmet. But Cedric Jones stepped in front of him and caught the ball.
And I saw the helmet rolling, and I looked back to see if Jones had lost it, and then I see Morgan on the ground.
Well, I thought the ball was actually thrown towards Stanley Morgan. I talked about the courage. Now watch this here. You know you're going to get hit, but look how high Cedric Jones goes. But both defenders are playing Stanley Morgan.
And obviously Jones doesn't know Morgan's behind him right
Absolutely. And Cedric Jones, had he come down with that ball and been able to stay up, he may have picked up a lot of yards. You can see a defensive back coming in there, but what a hit Stanley Morgan has taken. And the word is that Stanley Morgan had a mild concussion earlier in the game and in fact has come back to play. And I'll tell you one thing, he deserves a cheer today. He has been the offensive unit of this.
Morgan has caught 3 touchdowns, 30, 44, and also 27 yards.
You see how wide open Cedric Jones was? Had he been able to come down with the ball, there's no telling. He may have picked up another 25, 30 yards, but he had to go so high to get it. But they, in fact, have got the ball out here. They've got 4 more shots. They've got 39 seconds, and they still have 1 more timeout.
Patriots trailing 38-31. As Dave mentioned, 39 seconds to go in this game. Eason on a first down. Pass too low and too short for Cedric Jones.
And Eason just knows he just misread that. That ball had to slide out of his hand. It's wet. He knows it. You can see the dejection on his face. Look at his eyes. That's what tells you. You can see it. But a quarterback has to be able to come back. He has to have blood, just ice water in his veins. He's got to be able to shake that off and come back and again charge against that defensive unit. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to a Cedric Jones or go to Irving Fryer. Irving Fryer's got that wide receiver speed, and look at all the wide receivers to the top of the screen.
36 seconds left, 2nd and 10 from the 33. Eason with time. Completes to Cedric Jones at midfield, first down. Patriots looking to lateral. They lateral at the Hawthorne, and he drops the ball out of bounds.
That's what you call the flea flicker. But what a fake he put on him. That was unbelievable. He took and he flipped the ball, and he really faked out the defender. Now watch this as he comes across here. You're going to see the 3 wide receivers on the pattern. There's 83 in your stand. He's going to catch the ball, come all the way across. Now watch the tail end of this. Now watch right here. He actually fakes out the defensive back. Now here comes this shuffle pass back out to him. Hawthorne almost catches this in stride. Now watch right here. Watch the fake right there. Now that was the tail end of it where he flipped it out to Hawthorne, who in fact dribbled it out of bounds, but they got the ball on the 39-yard line with 25 seconds still left and a timeout.
28-yard gain. Eason has now passed for 403 yards, but his club is losing by a touchdown. Final 15 seconds. They work the shovel again. James has it. James fumbles the football. Seattle has it, and they also have a victory as Craig James fumbled the football around the 20-yard line.
And that's Eugene Robinson, number 41, who comes up with it. A flea flicker, an unbelievable play for the Patriots. They almost pulled it off. They throw the little pass out there. Craig James comes running out of the backfield. They flip it to him, and he's down the sideline, but he fumbles the first fumble of the game.
Now at the 28-yard line on the fumble recovered by Eugene Robinson. 1st and 10.
7 seconds left. Seattle 38, Patriots 31. This has been a game that no one here will ever forget.
It has been a game. I don't even know. We have to pick an MVP. I think maybe we might have to wait 7 seconds, Tom. But I think the MVP has probably got to be Raymond Butler. Wouldn't you think? He had the big catch for the touchdown. He broke clear. That's a tough choice, isn't it? Who do you think?
Second the emotion.
Oh,
now
okay.
it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser.
There are 3 seconds left, and New England has called for a timeout.
Today's MVP is Ray Butler from the Seattle Seahawks. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's game and for the season.
And for Ray Butler, it was 3 catches, 138 yards, 2 TDs. And as you said, he certainly has been an addition. I bet you the Indianapolis Colts are sorry that they gave up on him, especially today with those statistics. But it's well deserved. It could have been many players. It could have been a Stanley Morgan, who was so successful for New England. It could have been Dave Craig. It could have been Tony Eason, who was 25 for 43 for 403 yards passing. There were just so many MVPs this game. It was just hard to pick one. But well, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that Butler, with the one touchdown, brought him right back into the game, and the other one put him ahead for good. With 3 seconds left on the clock. And that turns out to be the end of the game, as Seattle now has beaten New England 38-31. Seattle runs its record to 3-0 so far this season. And the Patriots, with the loss, suffer their first loss of the season. They're now 2-1. So Seattle scored 17 points in a minute and 39-second span to come from being down 31-21 to take a 38-31 lead. And they have beaten the New England Patriots in what turned out to be one great game to watch.
Well, I think there were 2 important points in this game. Seattle had a chance to fold their tent and go home when they were down by 10 points, but they did not. They regrouped at halftime. They went in there, they came out with a good offensive game plan for the second half. They never quit, and they really came up with some great plays. You have to give credit to Chuck Knox. You have to give credit to Raymond Berry. These were 2 teams, and I'm going to tell you, Tom, I really think that these 2 teams could meet in December and decide who's going to go on in the playoffs.
Camarillo, of course, has to be having nightmares right now after having 2 punt attempts blocked. One led directly to a Warner touchdown on the very next play. The other was the touchdown that more or less tied things up and put Seattle into a situation where they could win it.
Well, I talked about those plays, and we can look at this play. This is probably the winning touchdown. Of course, we're going to see the pass to Ray Butler, and this is a play that really broke the back of the New England Patriots. It was a 67-yard touchdown pass when everybody's thinking field goal, and Butler, with his speed, just blazes by Ronnie Lepet and catches this. Lepet obviously took a gamble short, and you can see how far he had Lepet beaten. But really, the story of the game, as you said, was special teams. That's what decided the game. The 2 block punts. One led to a touchdown. The other one was a touchdown. And you mentioned it, Camarillo's got to be shell-shocked today.
And the other thing, I think you made a very good point too. When New England still had the tie portion of the game, or actually they were up at that point when they didn't really use the clock real well.
Well, I didn't feel that they did at that time. It was there were still 2 minutes left just before this play here. This is the punt block, by the way, and you'll see that the interesting thing here is that watch how Seattle doesn't just panic on the ball. They get the ball for a touchdown. Had they just fallen on the ball or kicked it out of bounds, it would have been a safety, and it wouldn't have been the dramatic finish that we saw. But I really felt that Raymond Berry avoided him. He just kind of went away from his offensive game plan. He was running